name is Clinton Windvogel. I'm the Learning Officer for Cape Nature. Welcome to Cape Nature Presents Learning to #LoveNature. Audience, thank you for joining us. I hope you will enjoy this experience with us. And I think the first question that comes to your mind is, what is it that Cape Nature does? Cape Nature is a government organization that protects plants and animals that occurs naturally in the Western Cape. So, what are you going to learn today? Yes, you are going to learn about plants and animals that we protect. But I think even or equally important is that our aim is to change behavior, because by changing behavior, we can affect people's actions towards our environment. If you've joined from the previous sessions, just on our housekeeping rules, and if you are new, that applies to you as well. You can say hi in the text box, the chat box, or the Q&A box. You can direct your questions and your requests in the Q&A box, and I would request only the presenters to have their videos and speakers on. And I know that there's going to be numerous questions, so you can send them to learning@capenature.co.za. However, it's not all boring facts and research and everything. We're also going to have some fun. So there's going to be some hampers that we will be giving away. But in order to do that, you need to participate. Raise your questions. And if we can't answer them here, you can always direct them at learning@capenature.co.za. But let me introduce you to our final topic for today. And I'm going to hand over to Natasha Warnick, who is going to do a presentation on no rain, no gain, all about rainwater harvesting. Natasha, over to you. Hi, Natasha. I think we can't hear you.
Afternoon, everybody. I'm Natasha Warnick, and I am the Stakeholder Engagement Officer. And I am actually working in the Gansekraal area, close to the West Coast, and also at the Riverlands Nature Reserve, close to Malmesbury. And I'm the Stakeholder Engagement Officer, and we deal a lot with the general public on awareness and environmental education to schools. So this is a warm welcome this afternoon to my session called No Rain, No Gain, all about rainwater harvesting. So we will dig immediately into my session. And this session talks, of course, about something that is familiar to most of us. Everywhere, somewhere in our lives, we definitely had to do with rainwater harvesting. Being as a child at school, maybe, or as a community member, or as an activist for saving water, or even a representative at our university, as well as maybe in our community to save water. So it's all about practical methods that we can use to make the demand less on the environment and the precious water resource that we need to protect. Okay, so basically focusing on some challenges that we currently faced with. The present total for the population on planet Earth is about 7.8 billion people, and the demand is rising as we speak for water, of course, adequate water supply to meet the increasing water demand for everybody to survive. We all know we cannot live without water, and we need water. We can stay without food for a long time, but not too long without water supply. So another challenge that we're also faced with is equal access to water resources. And there is a few interesting statistics about water in our area. Looking at, for example, this one over here, about 3.1% of households live with no sanitation facilities or use a bucket toilet, which is not so nice and which is also causing a lot of health problems. Another one here is 1.5 million small children in South Africa don't have toilets at home, which creates a lot of problems for us. And the statistic over here is quite interesting. About 45.6% of households do not have a toilet inside their dwelling, equals to more people in South Africa has got cell phones than toilets inside their dwelling, which is quite interesting. Okay, so looking at the possible solutions. So what do we do with the possible solutions we have? We find alternative resources, of course, and use conventional approaches. We also better utilize the limited amount of water resource available in a more efficient way. And of course, every drop counts at the end of the day. So all the drops of water, it counts. So to date, much attention was given to the first part, which is the alternative water resources, and not too much attention on optimizing what we already have and using that efficiently. So alternative solutions, and it's pretty easy and very practical. There's no rocket science about it. Rainwater harvesting is an environmentally sound solution and an alternative technology to increase freshwater resources. So it can be done at various places, and it is very easy and environmental sound as well. Okay, it is a technology used for collecting and of course storing and use of this rainwater for human or agricultural use. So various methods used. You can see the pictures there, an old bathtub, some pots, yeah, so various methods to store this water in small quantities. And also there's methods where we look at bigger quantities of saving water. And this is also done from other surfaces, which is interesting. Rooftops, land surfaces, or rock catchments by using simple techniques such as jars and pots, as well as engineered techniques for the more complicated rainwater harvesting techniques. And then, of course, many cultures, like I also mentioned earlier, many cultures have been doing water harvesting all over the world. Because it is an effective way to meet water needs, especially where there is not municipal water available. People make do with what they can practically around them. Rooftop harvesting is one of the general practice methods to obtain relative clean drinking water for domestic purposes. So I would say using rooftop water, it could be a drinkable water, but I will still suggest rather using it for domestic purposes or agricultural purposes, and doing some water quality testing when we're thinking of drinking these waters. And then, of course, there's benefits to it. So rainwater harvesting can provide, these water can be provided at the point where it is most needed. So if you have your water tank installed in your backyard, close to your garden, it is at the source where it's needed. So you can directly get your water from your rainwater tank or any method that you are using for your garden to grow nicely. Small farmers or owners of property can also make use and of course manage or also encourage better practices by collecting water for agricultural purposes for their crops. And they can also teach other farmers and other local farmers about these practices and make awareness around their communities and the neighboring properties. Then just having a look globally. So there is also various countries that's been doing it, not just here in our country. So almost 86% of Singapore's population, they live in high-rise buildings, and they use light roofing to actually use catchments for rainwater. So this water is collected on the roofs and kept in separate containers or cisterns on the roofs for non-potable uses. So they can use it for any purposes, not drinkable water, but they can use it for sanitation, for cleaning, even gardening and all those kind of purposes. Thailand as well, storing rainwater from rooftop runoff in jars. Very appropriate, and it's inexpensive, and they say it's high quality drinking water. Once again, recommendation is to do quality checks on the water, but according to them, it's high quality drinking water. And you can see the huge jars, beautiful jars that they actually use to keep or store this water. And it comes with a lid, nice lid that closes up there. It also has its valve where you can just take your bucket or your container for water use. And it's got a drain at the back as well for if you want to let the water escape. So yeah. The next one is Brazil, also in semi-arid tropics. Rainfall 200 to 1,000 millimeters. And it's sometimes uneven regional and seasonal rain patterns. So people traditionally utilize rainwater collected in hand-dug rock catchments. So another way of catching water, hand-dug catchments and riverbed rock catchments. And you can see the water is nice and clear, and it looks like the community around there is also happy because they've got some water to use for various purposes. Once again, agricultural purposes, sanitation, cleaning, and if high quality and good quality for drinking as well. Then also looking at other easy ways to harvest rainwater. Well, a simple way is using some catchments on your balcony to catch some water on your balcony. If you live in a higher building, in a flat building, and you don't have like a backyard where you can put like a barrel for water harvesting, so you can just do some small amounts of harvesting on your balcony. And we all know the JoJo tanks, so this is quite common in our communities, JoJo tanks for agricultural purposes mostly. So this can be installed at schools, at your garden and various places to also provide a nice storage space for rainwater. Of course, the gutters, from the rooftop to the gutters, that's an amazing way of also catching rain. Even myself, we're doing it at our home and it works perfectly. And then you can make your own rain barrels. So making your own rain barrels, and of course making sure that you use environmental friendly materials, and of course also another way of reducing waste, because you can then use barrel that was used for other purposes now as your rainwater storage or catchments. And of course being creative around the household, so creative household systems. And I must say, us as South Africans are a very creative nation, because we can always think out of the box and come up with very, very interesting methods. And also today, I would like the participants to drop in the chat box if you have any more ideas of how to harvest rainwater in a cool, creative way. Please drop them in the drop box so that we can see what your ideas is. Okay, so moving on. Basically, rainwater harvesting, very important because it lowers our bills and it saves money. And who would like to save some money? Everybody would love more cash in our purse. So if we can have more water, it's free. Rainwater is free. So let's harvest the rainwater and lower our bills and save a lot of money for other purposes. And then also rainwater harvesting, it takes the pressure off our dams. And we all know, not too long ago, there was a lot of pressure on our dams. And we had we were scared of day zero. We had to reduce our amount of water we use per day, per household. So that created a lot of issues and challenges for all of us. So we can take pressures off our dams if we do rainwater harvesting. Then we can also maintain beautiful gardens, and this is also where we involve not only our communities, but also at home. We can involve our children. We can involve everybody that is at home. This is a nice activity to be outdoors, to grow crops in your yard or maybe in a community spot where there is soil available and a spot available to obviously feed the water from our rainwater harvesting tanks to our crops and grow nice vegetables. And of course, saving water is a great alternative, or rainwater harvesting is a great alternative for water supply, and taking into account again the 7.8 billion people that lives on our planet and what we can do. And I always say the small bit that we can do makes a big change out there. So that is basically my short story for this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope you will drop some information there for me in the chat box so that I can see what your ideas is on rainwater harvesting where you are situated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natasha. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I see there's quite a numerous amount of questions. Let's get to the Q&A section quickly. From Michelle Boucher. I don't think we can answer that question, but I think we need to direct that to the experts. She's just asking, how can we prevent mosquitoes from breeding in tanks of rainwater? I think we will answer that question more professionally and the experts.
Yes.
And like I said, you can direct that question also to learning@capenature.co.za. Then another interesting question here from Zara. How do we make your own rainwater barrels?
Okay, like I mentioned, Clinton, Zara, we said we want to reduce waste in the environment, right? So looking at material like old drums or stuff like that at home, so we can use that. Maybe we would need some help. And I also said let the whole family get involved. So maybe a brother or somebody can get involved to make a little valve or a little tap for the water to, if it's going in on the top, it must come out somewhere. So you can always install some valves and stuff, and then you have your own tank at home. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you, Natasha. How much, Marga Webster, how much effect will harvesting water have on the level of the water table?
Okay, well, like I said, the small contribution that we make, if everybody contributes, that will make a change to our water levels. So if for instance, if 50 people out of a community start doing rainwater harvesting at home, it will already make a change.
Okay, I see here, Lamisa Rhoda, does anyone have plastic-free alternative suggestions for rainwater harvesting and irrigation for veggie gardening, etc., etc.? Okay,
so that's an open question to everybody, eh?
Yes, and I think we can answer that question also, you know, that the experts answer that question for us. Let's go to the chat room. Some of the comments here, Charlene Schuler, she's saying using grey water like bath water to water our plants and lawns. That's excellent.
Great stuff.
Yeah. And then Robin Neft, we use old dustbins and our bath to catch water, and we've been doing this since water scare day 0.
Wonderful, great stuff.
Let me go back here to the Q&A. I've heard and agree with the statement that cities are the equivalent to deserts with regards to the ability to withhold rainwater. How can you change the current infrastructure to hold rainwater, especially with regards to roads and their drains? Jackie, thank you for asking that question. And yeah, a few years ago, I attended a rainwater harvesting seminar, actually a week of training, which we attended, which was quite interesting. And we never use that information, but thank you for allowing me to use that information now. First of all, I think a lot of changes needs to happen. First of all, what you need to know is, I think the roof structures of many buildings are currently changing in South Africa. The new age and the new wave of designing buildings, because you need to calculate the roof rainwater coefficient. In other words, how quick the rainwater runs off a specific roof material. For example, a thatch roof won't do good for rainwater harvesting, whereas a new I don't know what the material, I think it's normal new roof, yes, new roof roof plates will have a quicker coefficient or runoff coefficient. And I think also, you know, when it comes to the design of roads, what we've also the information that was shared with us is also, you will see that the road, most of the roads, the new roads are designed currently in a upward sort of like slant. It's almost like with a 45-degree angle to where most of the water would run off, so that they can actually, that water can flow off the road. That is for road safety. But I think your suggestion is also good, that we actually use that water. And yes, we can purify that water. I know that over the world, some of the countries, they are using it. I think China is using that specific water. They've got underwater cellars where they store some of the water that they collect from the rain. And remember, I want to share this with also with the attendees or the audience, is that every water drop counts. The other thing also is that 75% of our body consists of water, so we can't live without water. I want to go back to the Q&A section here quickly. I'm just actually checking here if there are any new comments. Just go back to the comments. I hope I've answered your question, Jackie Ali. But you are more than welcome to send your, if there's any audience member that want to send their questions and request, they can send it to learning@capenature.co.za. I'm just checking for any more questions, some in the chat room. I think, that's, there's a question. Can use oak barrels to catch water or clay pots, both plastic free? I think, thank you, Tanya Yeken. She's suggesting that. And yes, Ross Prinsloo, solid surfaces, especially in cities, need to be replaced with porous surfaces so that rainwater and runoff can be absorbed by the earth and restore the water table. Very interesting information online about green cities. Yay, yes. Then Jacques van Zyl, all newly constructed homes must come with a JoJo tank. Yes, I agree fully. So, yes, audience, now it's time to have a little bit of fun before we start the weekend. So I'm gonna quickly draw a prize here. And it is, I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce your name correctly, Lamisa Rode, or Rode. Well done, and congratulations. Our staff will be in contact with you to hand over your prize. And thank you, audience. I want to thank you all for your time, your participation. And remember that we, and only we as humans, can make the change. And by changing our behavior, other people will see what we are doing. And by doing that, we will create the change. So thank you, and we will see you hopefully very soon. I want you to have a safe weekend. Enjoy it. Thank you and goodbye.